What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about Rivian. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what shorts are doing, and then over and above that, why it did have the most epic reversal known to mankind from a EV standpoint during the earnings. So I want to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. And I might be over exaggerating a tad bit about the massive reversal, but to be honest, when it was down like, what was it, 10% or something like that to close slightly green, man, that was epic stuff. So I'm going to go over all the things that you need to know. Market's been open 15 minutes. It is down 0.88%, so piggybacking off of the broader market. Very low volume though, so 979,000 shares being traded, 40.21 is the average. No official news today, no SEC filings. So a lot of people just trying to digest the recent earnings as well. So in case you did miss it, they missed on their earnings per share, and kind of looking right here at the cash flow, they did go up, so about 1.2 billion they burnt from operations, which even from the quarter prior, like it's not good. And especially based on their last earnings, or might be even last two earnings, they said that they were going to be mitigating expenses. So it doesn't look like they're doing all that good of a job. So it's kind of the market being very, very picky. And as I've said, the 2024, the market is meticulous about efficient companies. Any company showing signs of weakness or dilution or whatever else is going to get hurt, and I think especially in Rivian's case. So that's what caused it to go down as much as it did. Then it did recover slightly because of two things, one of which was the technicals. Second point is their revenue. So they did have and beat on their revenue by 37.26 million, and then aside from that, their actual cash that they do have on hand is about 5.9 billion. So factoring in that the market cap is about 10.2 billion, still relatively low multiples in comparison to a lot of other EVs. And also on a side note, technically this is where I think the market was overreacting, because technically, yes, they were burning through quite a lot of cash, more than what they probably should have within that quarter, but they did give good future guidance. Other companies completely bomb on their earnings, but they give good future guidance and they go up. So it's kind of a weird scenario that really happened with Rivian, but goes to show exactly what people are really, really looking for. And also on a side note, because of their earnings, you had a lot of bullish ratings coming out. So I'll give you a breakdown of that. So you do see quite a lot. So obviously I've already said in the past that institutions and analysts absolutely do love Rivian, and clearly based on a lot of these ratings, do feel that they are still a very big contender against Tesla. And actually, I think that was even stated, not a competitor against Tesla, but the fact that they have an insane amount of demand. They did bring that up during the earnings. So of course, you can't really argue with that, right? That's one thing that they've always really said, is that their demand is there. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. But some of the latest ones, looks like $11 rating, Goldman Sachs, Marku has a 60% success rating. You got a 21, so Piper Sandler, Bank of America, Alexander 45%, John Murphy 53, $10 rating, 20, 15, 13. So despite the cash burn, they still are very bullish on Rivian. And as a consensus among all the ratings, $14.57, and that does work out to be a 43.48% upside. Latest Morningstar report does show the fair market value being $17.21. That is incorporating the recent earnings and everything else. And while I'm actually on Interactive Brokers looking at some of the technicals, because a lot of people really do like the Elliott Wave technicals, it does have a pivot point of $8.19. So for as long as Rivian is above that, then it is anticipated to get to this 11.15 to 11.70 range. So the technicals are looking fairly good. And like I said, the technicals were one point why it actually did bounce from this general area, and that is because right here. So with it right now at $10.15, it is trading between this pivot and this R1. So it did actually bounce off of this pivot point, $9.43. So of course I see that as good. We do know that's a very strong support going forward. Just whether it does hold or not, we'll just have to wait and see. Aside from that, $10.53 is going to be that next strong resistance. Market seems to be very much oriented towards pulling stocks down today, so it might be touching this pivot point possibly tomorrow, or if not, early next week. A lot of volatility probably and last minute jitters because of CPI data coming out. But still, I think Rivian, once again, from their earnings, did show that they are a force to be reckoned with and aren't going away anytime soon. That's at least what I took away from it. So let me know your thoughts. And my apologies on not live streaming it. I actually had the full intention. I had everything up. And then as soon as I tried to go live, YouTube just decided to do something. It wasn't really working for me. And so yeah, it didn't really work. I don't know what happened with YouTube for that, but right now shorts are increasing. 4.65 million shares, 20.6% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 145.84 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average 1.29%, and then utilization is 76.61%. So shorts are doubling down, clearly feeling that today, or I guess being at $10 is not really justified. So they're kind of piggybacking off of the broader market somewhat. Looking at options, 338,000 in calls, 254 in puts. And within the first about 15-20 minutes, this is a good amount of volume, so that's kind of a good thing. 48% of all the options being done today so far are bullish, but then again, I'm sure a lot of that is just shorts hedging their bets. And just a look right here of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly about above $12. And then looking at puts, you do see a consensus for it to be sub, oddly enough, about $9.50, $9. So more of an anticipation that this pivot point might break. These are some of the transactions that have occurred so far within the first 20 minutes. And based on this, there was a lot of big money buying Rivian yesterday. So based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price, most of these, anything with an ask is a buy. So a couple big ones yesterday, 17.4, 1.01, 1.18. Obviously you guys can read. So if you want, just pause the video and go line by line if necessary. But regardless, a lot of big money was getting into Rivian yesterday. So of course, that's kind of a good thing. Shows that at least there's a certain level of demand and everything else. Aside from that, dark pool, relatively quiet so far today. Yesterday was very popular, but once again, that is linked to shorting. So who knows what will happen over the next couple of days, especially with CPI and everything else. Like I said, just watch for these two support and resistance points for them to hold at least in the next couple trading days. And then aside from that, on the actual chart itself, so it is flirting with that 50-day moving average right now, but still higher percentile of the boiling band. You do see it at roughly about 67, 70. And I did say that during my last video, the fact that it is overbought kind of leading into the earnings. If there is a sign of weakness, of course, their cash burn, you're going to see a significant pull down and just a lot of volatility. So it is still considered somewhat overbought. So still, I think right now it might be pulling down due to that. You also do see a bearish deviation, so red line above the white. But despite that, though, you do see retail kind of holding their gains and everything else like that. So they're not really fearful about Rivian. If anything, they're probably just having the same mentality as what a lot of analysts are having, and just forward looking that by 2030, Rivian is going to be a very big force to be reckoned with and be a very big contender against Tesla. So once again, looking on my videos, it is a lot of short-term stuff, what is affecting it right now versus even next week, not necessarily long-term. One thing that I really do like about Rivian is that they have sufficient amount of demand. RJ as CEO, in my opinion, is very good. Like, he's going to really move Rivian to good places, but it's going to take time, right? So we already do know cash burn is one of the biggest things that does affect Rivian. And as well, my takeaway from their recent earnings is that that's not going to go away anytime soon. Possibly like tail end of this year, I think they did state, but obviously who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Give yourself a shout out. Did you buy Rivian? Did you sell? Have you been doing options? What have you been doing with Rivian? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And one final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the Mag 7. One additional thing actually over and above all of that is that I'm heading on a trip actually in probably about 4 hours. So this probably will be my last video for under this channel. So yeah, it'll be a little bit more of a hiatus. My apologies. Hopefully when I come back, Rivian is above $12 and all the other fun jazz. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.